The psychological power of being present while everyone else is distracted. The world around you is collapsing into noise. Not chaos you can see, but noise you can't escape. Notifications, endless scrolling, artificial conversations. People physically present, but psychologically absent. And yet, this is where your power begins. Because while they drift, you anchor. While they chase stimulation, you withdraw into stillness. And here's the truth no one tells you. The most powerful person in any room is not the loudest. It's the one who is fully present, while everyone else is mentally gone. The invisible shift. Look around next time you're in a room. Watch carefully. Someone checks their phone mid-conversation. Another nods without listening. Someone laughs half a second too late. Eyes flicker. Attention fractures. Presence dissolves. This is not normal. This is psychological decay in real time. Because attention is not just focus. It is power, allocation, and most people have lost control of it. The architecture of modern distraction. We are living in something far more dangerous than distraction. We are living in a fragmented consciousness economy. Your mind is no longer your own. Every notification, every scroll, every algorithm is competing for one thing: your attention bandwidth. And here's the part almost nobody realizes. The more fragmented your attention becomes, the weaker your psychological presence becomes. This is what creates what we can call the dopamine poverty line. Most people today live below it. They are so overstimulated that real focus feels uncomfortable. Silence feels heavy. Eye contact feels intense. Stillness feels unnatural. So they escape it, back into noise, back into distraction, back into fragmentation. But here's the advantage. While everyone else is losing depth, you can gain it. While they scatter, you consolidate. While they weaken their presence, you weaponize yours. And this creates something rare, a psychological asymmetry. You see more, you feel more, you understand more, because you are not distracted. The secret nitrogen monoxide one says, out loud, presence is not calm. Presence is dominance without movement. It's the same principle seen in deep psychological observation. The one who observes controls the frame. This is why silence unsettles people. This is why stillness creates pressure. Because when you are fully present, you are no longer predictable. And unpredictability equals power. The shift in social hierarchy. Most people think status comes from talking more, showing more, posting more, performing more. But in reality, the highest status signal today is what you refuse to do. You don't reach for your phone. You don't interrupt silence. You don't chase attention. And that restraint sends a signal deeper than words. I am not controlled by the environment. And, psychologically, that reads as dominance. Why stillness feels like power. There's a reason calm people command rooms. It's biological. When your nervous system is regulated, you send a signal of safety, control, internal stability. And others feel it instantly, because humans are wired to scan for who is reactive and who is not. And the one who is not reactive is perceived as the one who doesn't need validation. And that is power. The hidden perception shift. When you stop being distracted, something strange begins to happen. You start noticing things others miss. Micro-expressions, tone shifts, hidden tension, unspoken dynamics. This is not intuition. This is uninterrupted perception. And as described in deep psychological observation, the mind that is not overloaded becomes sharply aware of subtle reality. While others are lost in noise, you begin to see patterns. And once you see patterns, you can't be controlled by them. The first realization. Let this sink in. Most people are not unaware. They are overstimulated into blindness. They don't lack intelligence. They lack presence, bandwidth. And this is why they miss red flags. They misread people. They get manipulated because their attention is divided. And divided attention creates weak perception. Your advantage. Now understand this clearly. If you are the only person in the room who is fully listening, fully observing, fully present, you instantly become the most psychologically dangerous person there. Not because you speak, but because you see. In the next part, we go deeper. Because presence is not just awareness. It becomes something far more powerful. a silent interrogation tool, a magnetic force, a way to make others reveal themselves without effort. You'll learn why your silence makes people talk more, how eye contact becomes psychological leverage, and how stillness creates a vacuum others can't resist filling. The moment presence turns into power. Most people think presence is passive. It's not. Presence is pressure without force. And the moment you understand this, everything changes. Because when you stop filling space, others feel compelled to fill it for you. The silent interrogation effect. Have you ever sat with someone and said nothing? Not awkwardly, not nervously, just calm, grounded, watching. Something strange happens. They start talking more, then too much. They begin explaining things you never asked about. They reveal insecurities, contradictions, hidden intentions. Why? Because your stillness creates what psychology calls cognitive pressure through silence. The human mind is not built for empty space, so when you don't react, they project. When you don't speak, they expose. Wheaties works deep psychology. Most conversations today are not communication. They are mutual distraction loops. You speak, I respond. I speak, you respond. No depth, no observation, no awareness. But when you break that loop, you disrupt their psychological rhythm, and that's when the unconscious takes over. This is the same mechanism behind projection. People reveal themselves when they are not being actively managed. And when you remain present, you stop managing. You start observing. The power of not reacting. Here's something most people don't realize. Reaction is submission. Every time you react instantly, you signal emotional availability, predictability, need for engagement. But when you pause, when you delay, when you stay still, you flip the dynamic. Now they don't control the rhythm. You do. The emotion vacuum principle. Manipulators, attention seekers, and even normal people rely on one thing. Your emotional response. Take that, Hawaii, and they lose structure. As described in psychological manipulation dynamics, the moment you stop reacting, the entire control mechanism collapses. Because they are no longer interacting with a person, they're interacting with a mirror. And most people cannot handle their own reflection. Why people start revealing themselves around you. When you're distracted, you miss patterns. When you're present, you create discomfort, and discomfort forces truth to surface. Because silence removes distraction, stillness removes escape, eye contact removes illusion, and suddenly they are left with themselves. The magnetic power of eye contact. Now we go deeper, because presence without eye contact is incomplete. Eye contact is where presence becomes intensity. In a distracted world, eye contact is rare, and rarity creates value. The neurochemistry of connection. When you hold eye contact, oxytocin increases trust, dopamine activates focus, cortisol can spike tension. That mix creates something powerful, emotional significance. This is why people feel seen, exposed, drawn in, all at the same time. But most people do it wrong. There are two extremes. Avoidance, which signals insecurity, and aggressive staring, which signals threat. Both destroy presence. Real power lies in something else. The soft focus technique. This is where presence becomes mastery. Instead of staring, you rest your attention. Eyes steady, face relaxed. No urgency to react. You're not trying to dominate. You're simply not withdrawing. This signals something very specific. I am comfortable seeing you and being seen, and that level of comfort is rare. Why this creates attraction and authority. Most people are half present, half guarded, so when they meet someone fully there, it disrupts them. They feel important because you're focused, exposed because you're aware, curious because you're not reacting. And this creates a psychological pull, not loud, not obvious, but undeniable. The uncomfortable truth. People don't trust words. They trust nervous systems. And your presence communicates stability, control, self-sufficiency, which signals this person does not need anything from me. And paradoxically, that makes them want your attention more. The data advantage. Here's where it becomes strategic. While others are talking, reacting, explaining, you are collecting data. The one who observes patterns without absorbing them becomes immune to manipulation. You begin to notice who seeks validation, who avoids truth, who shifts behavior based on status, who performs versus who is real. And once you see this, you operate differently. You stop playing the game. You stop over-explaining, chasing approval, filling silence, reacting emotionally. Because now you understand, power is not in expression. It is in controlled presence. The second realization, let this hit deeper. Most people are constantly leaking information through words, reactions, nervous habits. But when you are present, you become hard to read. And what is hard to read is hard to control. In the final part, we turn this into a system. Because presence is not random. It can be trained. You'll learn the presence protocol for real-life situations, how to rebuild focus in a distracted brain, and how to become the grounded center in any room. The final shift, from presence to identity. Up until now, you've understood something most people never will. Presence is power. But here's where it becomes dangerous when presence stops being a tactic and becomes who you are. Because at that point, you're no longer trying to be you become the person who cannot be pulled out of themselves. Why most people can't sustain presence. Let's be honest. You've tried to focus before. You've tried to be present, and it didn't last. Why? Because your brain has been trained for distraction, not accidentally, but systematically. Constant stimulation, instant rewards, endless novelty. This rewires your mind into needing interruption to feel alive. So when you try to be still, it feels uncomfortable, restless, heavy, almost wrong. This is the real battle. Presence is not about effort. It's about withdrawal from addiction. Because distraction isn't harmless. It's dependency. And as long as your mind depends on stimulation, you cannot dominate your attention. The presence protocol, your advantage system. Now we turn this into something practical. Not theory, not motivation. System. Step 1. The 3-second rule. Before you react to anything, pause. Just 3 seconds. No immediate response. No automatic reply. This breaks the reaction habit loop. And over time you stop being controlled by impulses. Step 2. Single point attention. Wherever you are, choose one thing to fully focus on. The person speaking, the environment, your breath. No switching, no scanning, no multitasking. Because attention scattered equals presence destroyed. Step 3. Controlled silence. Stop filling every gap. Let conversations breathe. Let moments sit, because silence is not awkward. It's unclaimed power, and most people rush to destroy it. You won't. You won't. Step 4. Eye contact discipline. Not aggressive, not avoidant. Just steady, consistent, relaxed. This reinforces confidence, awareness, emotional control, and over time people feel it without understanding why. Step 5. Digital fasting. This is where most people fail, because this is where power is built. You don't need to quit everything, but you must reduce random scrolling, constant notifications, unconscious phone checks, because every time you interrupt yourself, you weaken your presence muscle. And here's the truth most ignore. You cannot be powerful in reality if your mind is addicted to escape. The rebuilding phase. At first, this will feel unnatural. You'll notice the urge to check your phone, urge to speak quickly, urge to avoid silence. Good! That means you're seeing the conditioning. And once you see it, you can break it. What happens when you master this? Something shifts. Subtly at first, then completely. You walk into a room, and you don't scan for validation. You don't perform. You don't adjust yourself to be accepted. You just arrive. And people notice. Not consciously, but instinctively. Humans constantly scan for who is grounded and who is seeking. And when you are not seeking, you stand out. Without trying, the magnetic paradox. Here's the paradox. The less you chase attention, the more attention you attract. The less you react, the more people reveal. The less you need validation, the more respect you command. The final realization. Let this land fully. Most people are not ignored because they lack value. They are ignored because they lack presence. They are distracted, reactive, predictable. And predictable people do not hold power. Who you become. When you master presence, you become something rare. Not louder, not more expressive, but more precise. You speak less, but when you do, it lands. You move less, but when you do, it matters. You react less, but when you do, it's intentional. The untouchable state. At the highest level, presence creates something else. Immunity. You are no longer easily triggered, easily manipulated, easily distracted, because your attention is yours. And once you control your attention, you control your reality. So understand this. In a world addicted to distraction, presence is not normal. It is dominance. It is discipline. It is power without noise. And if you master it, you won't need to compete for attention ever again, because you'll become the one thing everyone else has lost. The person who is fully there. While the world keeps drifting, you don't follow. You anchor. And the one who anchors controls the room.